like to introduce you to our moderator today. We love to call him DJ. DJ is the ESOMAR Council member and joint leader of AI Task Force. He's also the founder and CEO of AI with a 20-year track record in driving transformative research operations. DJ, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Christine, for the wonderful introduction. Hello, everyone. My name is Dharmendra Jain. I'm joining from Nairobi, Kenya. And it's my absolute pleasure to host this session, very exciting one. And this, as you know, this is the second in the series, as ESOMAR started this series early this year, where we present AI application, the practical and application, AI application in the market research. As you know, that the AI is every single day is coming into more and more into our practice areas, and increasingly there's a lot of excitement as well as also a little bit nervousness as well. And this season we are going to see 4 wonderful applications of AI in market research and how we can transform the way we do market research. But before that, we have a very special guest today, Judith Passingham. Some of you know that she is the chair of ESOMAR Professional Standards. And last month, thereabout, ESOMAR released 20 questions about AI for the people or agencies or suppliers who are considering buying AI solution. What all factors they should really keeping in mind, what should they check before they go ahead. And Judith has led that team and committee to come up with AI 20 questions. And we have privilege to have her on this session today. And she's going to take us through that. A very quick introduction of Judith. Judith worked in market research industry for over 35 years in many different roles, from general management, client account leadership, service development, to sales and operations on a global and European basis. In January 2020, she was appointed as chair of the Professional Standard Committee for ESOMAR. So please welcome Judith Passingham. Now we can listen to her.
We think almost all areas of research are going to be influenced by AI in some way. And this little schematic that you can see here shows a typical primary research project. I think we're all very familiar with these steps of the process. You have design stage, sample sources, pre-survey data collection, post-survey reporting, and deliverables. If we look a little bit more in the design stage, it might include these types of considerations. So sort of, again, something that we're all familiar with. So we looked at 29 discrete steps in the overall research process, and that told us that 24 of them could be subject to quite significant AI enhancements in the short to medium term, and the rest could be candidates in the slightly longer term. And they could be candidates not because they're not suitable, but because people might not want to go that far that quickly. So in this context, we come to the 20 questions material. So first of all, what is this guidance designed to do, and where can it help? So our objective in the publication of this material is to help and support AI service buyers and suppliers ensure that there is an appropriate level of transparency, trust, and confidence in the field, and that applicable intellectual privacy and AI laws are respected. So if you like, the intention is to promote fair, transparent, responsible, and ethical usage of AI in research. Now, we know from some of the other work done by ESOMAR that frameworks or checklists like this can facilitate structured discussion between organizations offering services and those seeking to use them. And in a fragmented or disintermediated supply chain, this becomes even more important. So our ambition here is to support the commercial process by highlighting the key points, and by doing so, to allow the research industry, or to help the research industry, benefit from the many exciting opportunities that AI offers us. And alongside that, trying to anticipate how legislation will impact and to help organisations plan and prepare as far as is reasonably possible. This is what it's designed to do. So moving on to where AI can impact, and this is really about scope. So how do we see the scope of this material? Well, in thinking about the research process itself, we see three areas that research organisations might consider in relation to AI at a very top line level. So the first one is the use of AI tools in relation to the business itself. So this is, if you like, research agnostic. So it could be generalized business processes. So things like HR processes, legal processes, that sort of thing. The second area is the use of AI whilst undertaking research activities. So, for example, that could be commercial research offerings introduced by suppliers, bespoke offerings. It could include the development of research products, services, the way in which research organisations interact with research participants. So that's quite an important one. Methods used in research operations. Again, quite a big one. Could be post-analysis, could be presentation and preparation of research conclusions, or in relation to proprietary syndicated data sets. And the third area is the use of research data as AI training data, usually in the programs of third parties. So these third parties would normally be clients and commissioners of research programs. So just highlighting, the scope of this material relates to the second area only, so within the research itself. And although it excludes 3, there are some common issues between 2 and 3, but we think that this third area requires addressing specifically. So this material is designed to be used with any organisation claiming to offer AI-based solutions for research. And I'll come on to the issue of the definition of AI later in this session. What I want to come on to now is to discuss in more detail the structure of the material, what we've included in each section and why. So you can see here that there are 5 areas that we go into in some detail. So company profile, explainable fit for purpose, trustworthy, ethical and transparent human oversight and data governance protocols. And the format of the material is, we say why we think the area is important. We pose a number of questions that will facilitate discussion between the parties, and then we give some context, so why we think this question is important. So this is similar in format to some of the other questions material and checklist material that ESOMAR has produced. So it's a familiar format, if you like. So the first section on company profile, this is really designed to set the scene, and it's to help buyers gain an initial understanding of the credentials of the supplier organisation. So you've got things in here like company experience and know-how. Do they have a good mix of research skills and AI relevant skills, data science, deep learning, natural language processing, that sort of thing. The second area is really to get a general perspective on AI, so how well the supplier has thought about the way in which AI-based solutions can improve the research process and contribute to decision making in that context. And then practical problems and issues. And we think that sort of by asking about the practical problems and issues that the company has experienced, that will help you gauge the level of activity within the supplier organisation, what it's learned, and it will also give you a kind of indication about how experienced the supplier is in managing challenges around emerging technologies, which is certainly relevant. So moving on to the second area. So this is about AI capability, so whether the service is explainable and fit for purpose. And that will start to help the buyer evaluate AI services from a practical standpoint and to determine whether the capability on offer aligns with the business purpose and is likely to provide you with a clear, demonstrable benefit. So we have there sections on explainability, which is really key to understanding how the methodology works in broad terms. how AI is used to power the method and the benefits that the approach delivers, the model. So this helps to start to distinguish between custom-built applications and open source solutions. So you can start to understand the capabilities and possible risks. So, for example, whether publicly available solutions are integrated into the supplier's offering. So you can start to understand the potential consequences of that, for example, handling of proprietary information, and then the use of data in combination with the algorithms and the way in which they interact to train the AI service. So the next section is about the AI capability in terms of trustworthiness, ethical implications, and transparency. So this really will help to start to pinpoint whether the supplier and buyer are aligned on ethical principles, and whether the supplier's considered other critical topics like potential biases, data security, resilience, that sort of thing. It helps to facilitate a discussion about the processes to verify and validate the output for accuracy, measurement, and assessment of validity. We know there's lots of literature and discussions about some of the challenges around AI, around bias and representativeness, and whether there's risk in generating inconsistent or incorrect outcomes. And this section helps to understand the processes that the supplier uses to ensure reliable results, which is a critical point. And there's supplementary questions here for tools using generative AI. For example, what measures are taken to identify hallucinations, incorrect answers, minimize bias, and tools using synthetic data, which is starting to be a little bit of a hot topic. So, for example, is there validation to compare synthetic data outputs to primary research outputs, or real-world outputs, we might call them? How the supplier flags and distinguishes between data derived from natural persons and data which is derived synthetically. So we think transparency about this is very important. This section also focuses on understanding limitations of AI models and how those limitations are mitigated. So is the supplier transparent about the limitations of their offering? And it drives at the provision of sufficient technical information to enable assessment of the validity of the results, and therefore the conclusions drawn, which is a critical part of things like the code of conduct that we operate with. And it also covers the topic of duty of care. So this is designing AI capabilities with a duty of care to humans in mind. Now, we all know that ethics plays a vital role in research, and this question will help buyers to evaluate whether the suppliers considered within the design of their service whether there might be any potential negative consequences of using their AI model for people, things like increased prejudice, financial harm, misinformation, which is worthy of consideration. So then on D, section D, this is looking at how you provide human oversight of your AI systems, which is quite an important feature, both of the ethical guidance that you see and also some emerging legislation. So this section will help buyers understand how human oversight and involvement have been considered both in the development and in the practical functioning operation of the AI applications under consideration. And the answers here and the discussion between the parties will help to determine how to identify what role the human plays when building solutions driven with AI and working with data that is processed and analysed with AI in an ethical and responsible way. So it's looking at things like transparency, so ensuring it's clear when AI technologies are being used in any part of the service, so identifying AI-generated images and text, for example, being explicit about whether there are ethical principles defined and how in practice that helps to determine the AI's behaviour. So this is about ensuring that human-defined ethical principles are the governing force behind AI-driven solutions, acknowledging both the difficulty of that, but also the importance of it. And then responsible innovation. So how does the AI solution integrate human oversight to ensure ethical compliance? Here on the right on this slide, you can see some examples of how that could be achieved. There's a lot more detail in the material on what these things mean. But obviously, this depends on the size of the company, sophistication, nature of the company, providing the solution. The final section covers data governance protocols, and this is designed to help buyers understand whether the supplier is appropriately aware of the legal frameworks that govern AI-based activities. So AI suppliers and clients are, of course, subject to data protection and related information security requirements imposed by data protection laws and regulations. These vary by jurisdiction, and they're generally interpreted based on where the data were collected or the location of the provider. There are also considerations around laws and regulations relating to intellectual property and copyright. So the answers to this section can help buyers understand whether the suppliers considered these factors to a sufficient degree, which is quite important, particularly in this field. So you've got things like data quality, fit for purpose aspects, data lineage. This is important because buyers will want to understand that data is responsibly and ethically sourced and processed, and it's fit for the purpose of the AI system. Privacy notices required by data protection laws and regulations, and the material just gives in some detail on what type of information this should provide. The steps that have been taken by the provider to ensure that data protection laws and regulations are followed. So with some detail of what you should be looking for there. Consent to process data for a particular purpose. Also ensuring that AI systems are resilient to adversarial attacks and disruption. And then the important issue of data ownership, so IP, usage permissions. So being clear about who owns the data that's going into the model, the input, prompts, an emerging field, who owns the output, which data are confidential and should not be placed into the public domain or into AI system cloud-based tools. It's worth also noting that this section is designed to be a standalone checklist if that's required, so you can tear that out and use it for that purpose. So I'd like to touch, before closing, on one or two additional areas. The first one is about the definition of AI and the terms that fall underneath the AI umbrella, of which there's quite a proliferation of terminology. Now, our view is that there are a sufficient number of definitions of AI. At the time of this presentation, there are 51 significant international definitions of AI, and we do not wish to add to the confusion. So we think that whilst we've got the right and the obligation to create clear glossaries and definitions within the sphere of research and insight, so that's our area, if you like, around things like codes, guidance, we felt that it was pragmatic in this case to take the IAPP definition of AI. So that's the International Association of Privacy Professionals, and we've sought their permission to use and quote it in this guidance, and some definitions that fall under the heading there. So you've got things like terms like data hallucination and a lot of other useful terms where they've created a very good glossary, we think. And we also note the adoption of the OECD AI definition by the EU within the guidance, which is quite a recent development. So we've got some, we hope, useful glossary, and also would refer you back to the IAPP website, which has got a lot of useful information and the fuller glossary in it. The second point is about the nature of the topic itself, about the AI topic. We know, the work group knows, that this guidance may be out of date within quite a short time window. We know that it may be more relevant to some organizations than others, and it may be more relevant to certain AI applications by virtue of the fact that the field of AI is accelerating and diversifying at an astonishing rate. Nevertheless, it's necessary to start somewhere, and this is the somewhere. So recognizing all of these points, we plan to update this material on a frequent basis, considering this dynamic business and legislative environment. So we will, in due course, be seeking feedback about how and where the material is helpful and how we can practically build on it. So really the objective here, through the ESOMAR Professional Standards Committee work, is to provide tools and guidance that help the commercial process. That's what we want to do. We want to have a positive impact on the industry with what we work on and what we produce. And we want to help play our role in helping research realize its full AI potential with the appropriate safeguards. So that's kind of our ambition for this piece of work. Finally, activation, getting on with it. That's always the point of producing this kind of material. If it sits on the shelf, it's not of any use to anyone. So I'm really hoping, and we're really hoping in ESOMAR that you're going to download and access this guidance, and that you will use this guidance within your business, and that it will be helpful and useful to you in the way that we've described. So if you click on this smart code, you'll be able to access the 20 questions material. We'll be able to see some of the other support activities planned by the ESOMAR marketing team, and to see how you can provide feedback as this activity evolves.
Thank you very much, Judith. That is very informative, very useful, and I'm sure our audience today must have taken a note. Your code to download this ESOMAR 20 questions is very, very useful, helpful, while a lot of AI is coming on our way. So thank you very much. I'm sure we'll have a lot of question and answers towards the end of the session as well. So now it's time to introduce our next guest, Ben Hayes from Synapbox. And Ben has been a strategic partner to global brands for over a decade. He co-founded Synapbox to revolutionize brand engagement through the synergy of machine learning, emotional AI, and neuromarketing research. So welcome, Ben. Please take it away. Hello.
Hello. Hi, DJ.
Hi, Ben. We've got you.
Hey, everyone. I had a slight connection issue there, but I'm glad to be back involved. So let me just jump straight in. So hi, I'm Ben from Synapbox, and I'm here to talk about a new novel approach to creative testing. So over the next 10 minutes, we'll cover the challenges with creative testing today, an easy to use and fully automated system that integrates behavioral data into a unified analysis framework, a demo, and a sneak peek into the future of creative development. So as you all know, measuring creative engagement is hard. The current ways of copy testing, whether it's interviews or surveys, just don't provide the scale or depth required to understand why something is going to work or not. And with attention spans plummeting and a super noisy media landscape, it's critical to integrate reliable feedback when trying to develop winning creatives. Because if you don't, the cost of bad advertising is very expensive. They are damaging to your reputation, will reduce sales, and alienate your customers from your brand. And I'm sure you all remember the Pepsi campaign with Kendall Jenner a few years ago. They got absolutely destroyed by the public. It was savage, really sucks to be them. But when you count only the cost of the campaign, it's already $100 million down the drain. And this, unfortunately, was 100% avoidable only if they had proper feedback. And in this case, the stakes are high. So we went ahead and pioneered a new approach to creative testing to unlock how consumers engage with what they see. Our fully automated system combines our proprietary algorithms developed with decades of experience with the latest in artificial intelligence to turn raw feedback into insights. So in this case, let's start with data collection. So in our case, we are collecting comprehensive consumer engagement data in real time with consumers online. This involves using the webcam to capture their emotions and attention, alongside using surveys to gather their rational feedback. In addition to this, we've developed an advanced video tagging system. And this is very, very new, right? Really, we are releasing it very soon. We're using this internally as of this year. This new video embedding system can fully index the creative elements in the video. So think the logos, the celebrities, any key messagings, call to actions, turning these into ones and zeros so the AI has context of what the person is watching. And this part is very important. So I want to emphasize, right? Because now we are able to cross-reference the biometric and rational data sets with the video automatically. And then using our proprietary algorithms that we've developed over the last decade or so, using our experience in creativity, understanding of persuasion, to develop a algorithmic scoring system that automatically analyzes and cross-references millions of data points, accounting for various factors that contribute to success. This comprehensive evaluation checks for things like brand recall, message clarity, emotional engagement, the timing of the engagement, audience intention, scene-by-scene analysis, and much, much more. And this essentially, and with this entire process automated end-to-end, from collecting multi-module feedback to cleaning it, processing it, to then producing scores, what we're essentially doing here is mimicking the thorough analysis that an expert researcher would have to perform with unlimited time. But in our case, our AI system can deliver better, faster insights almost instantaneously. And with all these efforts and leveraging large language models, we can now generate key learnings in one click. And due to the depth of data gathered, these key learnings are truly unique, right? So they're based on multiple module data. They're also dynamic and will change when different filters or benchmarks are applied to then provide new scores, insights, and new perspectives based on whether your audience or the filters that you've applied it to, again, on demand. So with all this in mind, I want to introduce my co-founder, who is the founder of this company, recognized by Forbes 30 Under 30, has developed this alongside many clients like AB InBev, Netflix, Bimbo, and other global brands, to give everyone a peek into the platform demo and the new encoder. So here we go.
Hi there, my name is Cristina de la Peña, and I'm the CEO and founder of Synapbox. We are the AI consumer insights platform for creative development, matching together customer feedback as well as content embeddings to fully understand how is that creative performance works with a specific target audiences, and ultimately use that as best practices for changing the way creative is done in the future. So let me walk you through our platform. What you're looking at right now is one of our studies. In this case, we're looking at a study that was pretty complex. We're testing 32 ads during Super Bowl, and we're going to understand in depth how is that creative is affecting performance. So we tested with 2,300 people. You can see over here is a completed study. And the reason why you have the completed status is because you can have access to this in real time. Imagine that you are developing something, you want to make sure that this is going to work, understand what are the strengths of your creative, and you want to launch it and see in real time how people are reacting to it. And this is what our product allows you to do. We are tracking facial expressions, understanding emotions, where are peaks of negative or positive emotion. For example, there is a huge confusion over here in this scene. And this is exactly the creative depth that you want to see when you are doing editions, for example, right? When peaks of surprise or happy are happening. Also, during exposure, what's going on with your product, how many participants are engaging visually with it. This is possible thanks to our eye tracking and facial recognition algorithms. All our data is fully filterable and interactive. So if we want to see how this data is performing, but only with Gen Zers, we can apply that filter. And you will see that we have a big spike of happiness. Let's clean all the other emotions so we can take a look. And this is happening at the moment where Usher is on screen. Exactly, these are the things that will be crucial when running an optimization for a specific niche or target. Now, if you scroll down, you're going to be able to see multiple other KPIs, go through different categories of analysis, like brand performance, message performance. These KPIs like rating, likes and dislikes, shareability scores, always are benchmarked against the whole database because everything is standardized. So it gives you a great signaling of whether it's good or bad. And this comes from data that could be questions like scales, but also opinions. The platform is connected to LLMs that are processing all this data in real time. And also the UI will allow you to do any final touch-ups to your data. So it gives you full access. Now, again, this is the second by second, all the different data points that we can deliver to you. But if you go into the summary page, you're going to be able to see an eagle's eye top-level analysis of what happened. And this is crucial because imagine testing 32 ads with 2,000 people. It will be almost impossible for a researcher, or it will take them days to weeks to understand what happened. And in seconds, we're able to understand exactly who was the winner and why. For example, here we have that out of the 32 ads, which are kind of like similar performance among them, but we're seeing that there is a clear winner. We see it over here, Reese's, way above benchmark. But not only that, our key learnings that are completely automated and also run through LLMs are understanding all the data points and able to generate an insight. This insight is what a researcher in the past will do, and again, take days to weeks to run for you. But let's read a little bit. So it's telling us that Reese's won. The people express a strong preference for its humor, described as funny, entertaining, memorable. It captured attention. And at the end of the day, the anticipation and excitement for new caramel flavor works so well. Ultimately, all is possible in seconds, which is part of the innovation, with the capability to change benchmarking per country, market, industry, or even some target characteristics. For example, we can test how these benchmarks references change when you are talking about Latinos or white Caucasians. This type of platform allows you for that niche granular understanding of creative that you will not find anywhere else. Let me show you the latest development that we have done, which is our encoder system. This system is enabling us to add all of the context that we require in order to fully understand behavior of consumers. And what I mean by that is decoding every component on the content and allowing us to do search from objects like, for example, cats. Let's do horses. And it's not only giving us the videos that contain these elements, but also the specific scenes within those videos where you have those components. Allow us to not only stay on the specific visual element, but also go into concepts. For example, let's do celebration. If we click on celebration, it will give us two different scenes, one that calls on celebration in Spanish, so it decodes multiple languages, but also this is scene where we're seeing women celebrating. let's use something as Taylor. Again, this is way beyond normal tagging systems. So the future of this encoder system paired with our behavioral data is that for someone like Anheuser-Busch that has tested a lot of its creative with us, it will be able to understand something as show me the scenes where I'm having a high emotional reaction of Gen Z, but also have components like horses or dancing and help me create a new piece with all of these elements that are successful with this specific demographic. If you think about it, this could change the way we create content in the future and put Synapbox at the center of creative development. But not only that, it will also remove the silo between research and creative development, which is something that our industry has been trying to do for a long, long time. Thank you very much.
I just realized I was on mute there. This multimodal data set, I just want to emphasize here that human emotions themselves are not universal. They only really make sense when contextualized by the person's attention, their opinion, and visual content. Additionally, we also need to consider who they are, whether it's their culture or generational background. And I think this approach and building an entire technological and AI system on top of that is really what helps stand us apart. And to finish up here, our vision here is to train creative AI based on consumer preferences. By leveraging our unique database of contextualized human emotions, we can create a content flywheel to generate highly personalized creative content, then test and optimize it until it's guaranteed to hit the mark, all done automatically. Well, thank you again. And well, I hope that was engaging, and thank you all for your attention. Please feel free to connect with me via email or LinkedIn. And from here, I'll pass it back over to DJ. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ben. That was fantastic. I'm so excited to see these capabilities coming in the field of creative testing and all that. Thank you very much. I'm sure many people are going to reach out to you very soon. So now let's welcome to our next speaker, Bradley Taylor from Converseon.AI. And Bradley is co-invented a GFK neuron as the global VP of product for GFK. He then went on to head of advanced analytics as a director for KPMG UK. Bradley now leads the development of Converseon advanced analytics product offering. Welcome, Bradley. Please take it away.
Thank you so much, and good afternoon to everyone, and wonderful to be with you here today as we explore these different tools. What we're going to get in today is one of the products from Converseon, and we have a very simple mission, and that is to turn voice of the customer data into predictive brand decision intelligence. So it's not just about generating more data. I think we have a lot of data, but rather it's about generating data that is helpful in making decisions. So it's very useful data. It's data that can be relied on, and it's data that adheres to ESOMAR's principles and standards as well. All of what you see and get from us is run through and tested and has human intervention at the right points, which means that we're testing what our AI does, and we're understanding what its correct and incorrect rates of classification are. So we're going to jump straight into the demo because time is quite limited. And what you're going to see is the Prism platform, which enables various different topics to come together and then move through a very simple but powerful and informative framework of assess, diagnose, and predict. So let me share my screen now. And one hopes that this all works well. So that should be coming through to you, and hopefully not too much of a lag. What we see first here is the Assess tab. And really, this is data over a longer period of time. where it's looking at brand reputation that has been calculated. It's a score that runs from -100 to +100. And what you can see is the reputation performance of various brands. A standout example is over here. We see AAA really and then recover, and then take another notch further to the right here. Now, we are going to look at an example today of McDonald's. Why do McDonald's perform by it doesn't have a overwhelmingly positive, it's not leading the pack on reputation, unlike some of the other brands which tend to share some of that first leader spot. So in order to understand why is this reputation score what it is, we will look at Diagnose. And Diagnose is basically all of the voice of the consumer or the customer being brought together under different topics. And again, we have a score ranging from -100 to 100, so quite easy to work with, and it's directly comparable. What that means is we can see Burger King, for example, doing really well on price and value at a score of 49, and it's positive. That tells us that actually Burger King is the very best on price and value from a consumer perspective. So now you understand something about the way that consumers are viewing price and value and who they rank as number one. Second is Wendy's, third KFC, and so on. And so we can work through the metrics like that in a very easy and natural fashion. However, what we're wanting to find out is, why is McDonald's not the leader? Well, if we look at technology, we can see that it doesn't score in the top 3 for technology. It comes in 4th from a consumer perspective. It actually does worst on people and culture than anyone else. It's not getting the recommendations. On price and value, it isn't bottom of the pack, it's middle. And operations, we can see it's not doing very well. And the menu appeal is okay, it's middle of the range. So we can see from this perspective, this particular framework which is being applied, which is around brand and CX attributes, that McDonald's doesn't do particularly well. However, let's switch the lens and change to a brand and ESG, environment, social governance point of view. Let's see what that can reveal for us. Now, it doesn't all fit on the screen. Just from what I'm sharing, things kind of blow out a little bit. But we can put McDonald's up here and we can see the heat map is very helpful. Instantly, we see its sustainable practices is doing quite well. It's doing well for veterans and service people. It's doing pretty good on inclusivity and diversity. However, where is it doing badly? Well, labor, layoffs, harassment, issues around paid leave, protests, relationships with labor, employee compensation, and then various attributes of the workplace and its position on various issues. So it becomes really quick to understand why McDonald's is performing the way it is. Now, we did see KFC actually take the first spot and do quite well. And if we look at KFC, a number of its scores are green or above 0, which means positive, and adding to the reputation or the brand equity that is observed. So we now understand that not only where McDonald's is, that it is struggling to have a reputation that is leader of its field, but we also understand what the issues are, and we're able to look at it through different lenses, whether it's a brand and CX lens or a brand and ESG. And in fact, the way that Converseon works is that we're able to take a bottom-up analysis of the data and create a framework from scratch, or we're able to take a popular top-down view and architecture of a category, what is important and historically known to drive success in a category, and code that. And so whatever framework you choose, we're then able to put it across, and it'll appear as these different columns. Now, a word about the data. As I said, we are checking to make sure that the particular posts that are, for example, used in environmental impact or comments or consumer voice of the customer, wherever that comes from, whether it's from surveys or whether it's from social media, we are checking to ensure that we have really high scores when it comes to precision, which is how accurately that is. When it says environmental impact, is it environmental impact? And recall, which is, how well does it do at finding all the environmental impact in the data set? And we ensure that those scores are high, and it's also transparent. So all of our clients can know what their score is for each and every single one of these attributes. And so that helps us to really comply and adhere to not only European standards for AI, but also ESOMAR, where data quality is important. You can understand the biases, you can understand what's going right and wrong. So that's my little shout out on data quality and how important it is to know these scores and the performance of your system. So really well done to ESOMAR on formalizing a lot of that. Now, we're going to go over to the predict and the act. And this is really about what happens if we do something and we're then wanting to see, okay, what's the effect of it? So here we have a number of different attributes, similar to what you saw in the framework. And we're able to play with them and then see how the score changes. The 6.02 billion that McDonald's does per quarter is over here. And as we change it, you will see that number change. It'll go up or down. Now, the first part of the system, and it's important to say this, the first part of the system uses artificial intelligence. We use the very latest natural language processing. We have LLMs used where they add value, but they're not used everywhere. We use classic NLP where it adds value. So we're drawing on the strengths of different techniques. Secondly, predict and act is not artificial intelligence. This is econometric modeling along with classic statistics. This is what happens when you take longitudinal data and decompose it over time to understand the cause and effects that are taking place. This is your classic statistics, a well-established area of study with long and very rigorous ways to understand and process and measure the quality. What we have on the right-hand side is a chart which shows us the performance of the model. This model is not a machine learning model, so this isn't a neural network that has learned the pattern of the market. No, this is rather understanding the contribution of each of these attributes on the left-hand side, and therefore knowing and putting it back onto the data and seeing how well does it predict the actual reality in the market. In this case, we're predicting revenue. We have also predicted favorability and brand equity from social and conversation data. We have also predicted even share prices for some companies where that is what's important to them. Obviously, you need the right amount of data and the depth to that data to do these things. Now, back to McDonald's. And then we should be finishing up. So McDonald's, what happens if they improve their people and culture? And we also saw there was a little bit about protests. And I guess we could say that it is governance all in all. So 3 improvements taking place, the volume of conversation increasing and the sentiment increasing. What does this do for the market? And we can see they go from the 602 to 6.14 billion. In other words, they're getting about a 2% lift. So this is quite important. When looking at ESG frameworks, you might think that's not very high, only a 2% lift. But for a brand like McDonald's, finding 2% extra revenue is quite a difficult task. And so that brings us to the conclusion of the demonstration of the platform, where we have looked at assessing what is reputation or brand equity and how are you doing. Number 2, diagnosing it and understanding what exactly you're winning and losing at versus competitors. And number 3, applying some modeling, predicting, and then understanding the effect these changes and investments in your business can make to the market. So thank you very much for your attention today and for viewing this demo.
Great. Thank you very much, Bradley. This is powerful, fantastic, and I must say that for brands This is going to be a very powerful platform, and given it is coming from the metrics from consumers and it is helping them understand the trends. So well done. Now we are going to welcome our next speaker, and Christian from Market Logic Software. I hope Christian is on the show here, and let me introduce him. Christian serves as the Senior Director of Experience and Design at Market Logic Software. Christian has spearheaded the development and launch of Deep Insights AI Assistant and Workspace, the world's first generative AI solutions designed specifically for consumer insights and market research teams. So welcome on the session, Christian. Over to you.
Okay, thank you very much, DJ. Hello, of heavy thunderstorms happening where I live, so I hope the connection stays stable. Let me give you a very, very brief introduction into Market Logic. Market Logic is a SaaS provider of a market insights management platform. So we are not about creating new insights, building the raw data, but once you have your insights, for example, from those wonderful tools also demoing today, your internal researchers, your research agencies, your secondary data providers, you want those to be managed somewhere. You want to have a place for them to put them, make them accessible and easy usable and easy to put into action inside your enterprises. Market Logic is doing that for over 15 years now. We have a variety of blue chips, Fortune 500 clients, as well as mid-sized enterprises, and we're continuously recognized and awarded as industry innovators. Now, as we are all about making insights accessible and actionable, so that with democratizing insights, our approach to AI in specific, of course, is how do we can leverage those situations that you insights managers, for example, face every day. There's a marketeer asking a question, very quickly needing an answer, and how can AI help in those situations? And our solution approach is a tool called DeepSights, which I'm happy to share now and walk you through its basic features. So let me quickly start sharing. DeepSights, and I'll share with the standalone version first, is an extremely easy, no training necessary tool. Basically, it's a text box where your users, your marketeers, your product managers, but also the insights experts can go and explain their problem or ask questions. A question, for example, I loaded this with about 15 documents for demoing. I will share that in a second. What percentage of consumers prefer plant-based foods? Just as a random question. Now, DeepSights will look in the repository of insights that I own as a company, and I hope it does so, because apparently, can someone write me in the chat if, sorry. Yeah, I have connection. So it looks in my repository and quickly comes back with answers to my questions. So I can see the answers. You will notice there's two answers, for example, to this question, because sometimes answers start with, well, what if I only look into the German market? What if I only look into France market or Europe and so on? So there might be different answers to the same question, and DeepSights just contributes to that fact and shows the differences in those answers. Each answer though has a clear attribution to its source and takes you right to that source, to that page, to get more in-depth knowledge and see the data below it. But DeepSights doesn't stop there. So if I start with a question and I want a more thorough, like a desk research kind of approach to it, get me everything around this topic, I can tell it to create a report, which will indeed take a few minutes. So I will skip that for the demo purpose into my little history here and pull up the report directly. The report will be more extended because it takes the initial question, it looks into the initial answers that question gets, and then starts asking question itself around those topics and gets more answers, and then synthesizes that into a real desk research report, always with those statements clearly referencing to source and again taking you to those sources directly. I can also pull up the sources it found for these questions as an overview. So I can clearly see what knowledge do I have around this. And I also see what kind of source was this. So this is primary sources, for example, and here are news feeds. So I always know where did it get this information from? Was it a different AI tool? Was it an external provider? Or is it my own data that I'm looking at that was used for this answer? Now, as you can see, it's extremely easy. Let me quickly share you the experts, your insights teams can simply maintain the repository by uploading, dragging and dropping files. These could be up to multiple thousands, 10,000s, or even 100,000s of documents, RSS feeds being pulled in, etc., from external world. Now I will quickly change to a different window of mine. Please excuse the few seconds delay, because I also want to share a bit on integrations that we offer. And one, of course, is integrated into various chat programs like MS Teams, Slack, Google Chat, etc. So let me build a little situation here. My colleague, Caroline, from marketing is sitting with a social media agency, and they're thinking about a campaign in Canada around sustainability, vegan, vegetarian foods. And me as an insights manager, she pings out of that meeting and asks me something. Hey, we've just discussed this report. What do we know about this? And so I can add deep sites to our conversation in Teams, which will just take a few seconds for it to be connected, and then say hello, basically, and then I can ask deep sites exactly that question that Caroline has placed to me, and ask it even to propose a few campaign ideas. And now that again goes into the whole repository. We have a full architecture of onion skin-like mechanisms around AI securing credibility, source references, prohibition of any kind of hallucination, really making sure that what the outcome is here is truth, it's relevant, and it's accurate. So it did, within just a few seconds, reply to my request, giving me answers and some campaign ideas that Caroline now has in her chat. It could even be a group chat with that agency, and on the go in real time, they can keep on with their discussions, with their ideations, and hopefully build better campaigns. And lastly, I want to share again in a second a new window. DeepSights also comes integrated into our complete platform, which then would be DeepSights Workspace. Workspace is more an end-to-end platform that allows you to organize and audit your research projects, your budgets. You can create storytelling, kind of a website-like topic pages. You can create newsletters and send those out to your internal audiences on certain topics. And as you can see, DeepSights is fully integrated, but it's also shown separately. So again, to a point that Judith very nicely mentioned earlier on, always making sure that there's a transparency between what source is this, where did AI come in the picture, what did it change, and what is maybe directly from a human. So much for the demo. Let me, to close up with, just mention, we not only have APIs to chat programs, but we can include other data providers like the tools demoing here by using APIs and pull those insights in directly. We can extract information from images, graphs, because a lot of insights reports are very image and graphic heavy. So we taught our AI rack to extract information from those graphical elements in a very solid way. So that is searchable as well. And maybe a little inspiration at the end, maybe even for Judith, is we also think about AI tools, talking to other AI tools, using natural language as the universal API, so to say, which would just excel everything we and all the other providers here do into a new world of access, easy access, and democratizing insights. So much from my side. Thank you very much, and back to DJ.
Thank you very much, Christian. That was quite inspiring. I can say this is a powerful platform for the secondary research as well, and very much, I would say, a great tool for researchers. Thank you very much. And now I'll move to the next speaker, Vedran Dileka, who is with us today and is from Shopnosis. And a quick intro to Vedran is passionate about creating value through tech innovation, education, and mentoring. His work is an interesting blend of various projects and businesses that is co-founded in the areas of education, marketing, and behavior research, computer vision, and AI. So, Vedran, I hope you're ready to please take it away. Let me check. I know there's a connection issue as well. Hello, Vedran. I hope you can hear me. Are you online? Let me check. I know. Oh, there you go. Glad to see you. Please take it away. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. Sorry, there's some connection issues. So thank you for the introduction. Yeah, a little bit more additionally about myself. So yeah, I have a PhD in computer science and did a lot of work in market research technologies. So developed technologies for eye tracking, webcam eye tracking, facial coding, co-founded a few businesses in the market research space. And during all this time, I came to realize that actually there is so much data that comes from laboratories, comes from survey research, comes from all kind of out-of-store research where people really, where you come, let's say you don't get real shopper behavior data, and this is why this is the story behind Shopnosis actually. So we are focused on bringing real in-store shopper behavior data to everyone to understand how shoppers behave in shops, to understand what they do in shops really objectively, and yeah, then we created like a whole suite of solutions around that I will present now. So let me share my screen and hopefully it's going to be smooth. You see my screen? All good?
Yes, all good.
Okay, great. So yeah, the title of my presentation today, what I want to show you is AI assistant for effective shopper marketing, powered by real in-store shopper behavior data. So why is in-store shopper marketing essential? You know the work of Professor Byron Sharp on how brands grow, where he claims and proves that products and brands must be physically and mentally available in store for shoppers. So this actually means that the shopper marketing goal needs to be highlighting physical availability of the products and brands. So on shelf displays along shopper journey, You as a brand want your products to be seen, to be engaging, and to be converting shoppers. But you also want to create mental availability of your products and brands, meaning that you want to remind shoppers a long shopper journey ideally before they make purchase in your category, about your products, about your brands. And that's exactly why brands invest millions in shopper marketing. And rightfully so, because it's really important role, as I mentioned, to create this mentally and physical availability of brands and products in store. And what is crucial to know there? Crucial is to know which marketing touchpoints work and where in store, which design and content is effective and leads to sales increase. So these are the crucial things you want to know as a shopper marketer, to know whether your marketing campaign is effective and whether it works for shoppers. But the challenge is a lack of in-store shopper behavior data. Normally you have sales data, you have maybe loyalty card data, but you don't have easily accessible data about how shoppers behave in store, really. So that's in the end means that your campaigns are rarely backed with real-world in-store effectiveness data. Usually also there's no up-to-date guidelines on what works and what doesn't work, so you know what to invest in what works and less in what doesn't work. And there is no really efficient A/B testing that is predictive for real shopper behavior in real stores. And these are the challenges that we as Shopnosis address. So we actually propose an AI powered by real-world data of shopper behavior. How we do this? We recruit shoppers in store and ask shoppers to wear camera glasses. The shoppers just put glasses on, they do their normal shopping. We see through their eyes, and then we analyze all these recordings and train our algorithms to be based on this real shopper behavior, on the way how shoppers see and engage with brands, products, and marketing in store. And I will show you a little bit demo how it works. This technology has been developed at Ghent University while I was a postdoc there, and transferred to Shopnosis, and now we commercialize it. So this is a video. I hope it's not too skippy. In essence, our technology developed at Ghent University and transferred to Shopnosis will tell you this. So basically you will know from every video frame what category shopper is looking, what subcategory, for how long, and do shoppers inspect the products, do they turn them around, how much time they spend looking at products, how much they spend time in your category. You will also know whether shoppers see marketing, whether shoppers engage, how long do they buy them or not. You will see this throughout the entire shopping trip. That's important. And then based on this data, you can address lost sales and see whether your marketing works and where. You can see across any location in store. You can optimize layout and placement, check in your category, check how it works. You can see the entire conversion funnel at any point in shopper journey. Based on this data, you can optimize planograms, and you can basically optimize the placement of your POS and really see how it works. And then since we collected a lot of data, over more than 2 billion observations of real shoppers in real stores making real purchases, we trained AI to understand what works in terms of marketing, what design and content it works for shoppers, and this is the next solution that I want to present you here. So actually, how you can use this solution? You can upload your in-store creative, define campaign goals, season, retailer, category, brands. Overall, it takes less than 5 minutes. Then you can it gets processed by Shopnosis.AI, and AI finds patterns amongst thousands of different POS campaigns that we recorded based on more than hundreds of parameters extracted from POS materials. Then you get effectiveness scores. So basically, AI predicts effectiveness of your uploaded creative in a real in-store context, and based on real shopper behavior, and you get how to improve guidelines. So AI scores the creative on 7 key parameters, and you get recommendations on how to improve. And I will let you go to demo to show you on our app how it looks like. But for now, there's an app. You can upload your creatives, and you can see in this app the performance of these creatives after you upload them. And I want to show you here our work that we did with our partner Smurfit Kappa and how they use this solution. So basically, you start with uploading your, let's say, current design or design you think it's good enough to launch in store. Then you get it scored, and from our AI, you get it scored on stocking power and engagement power. And you get these additional 7 scores that tell you which things are still suboptimal, which things are still, you need to improve to make it work for shoppers. And these parameters are promotion visibility, product exposure, call to action visibility, key visual, text balance, visual simplicity, and shopping experience. You get these scores based on comparison, so benchmarking to best in class. So displays get compared to displays, hangers go to hangers, aisle fills to aisle fins, and so on, within the same category and within the same shopping mission. That's important. So then you can, if you see things are suboptimal, you can upload another design and address the issues that you saw in the previous one, and eventually through multiple variations, you can actually find the best design that works for shoppers. And here there's an overview of this whole process and what was changed during the process. So you see basically that design that you uploaded first to the one that you eventually decided to launch in store. It was improved on product exposure, on key visual visibility, on structure, on logo image, also brand logo, and also the image of this bottle here, and so on. So this is the process you can go through to optimize your creatives based on real shopper behavior. And just to summarize everything that I said so far, so using Shopnosis.AI, you can measure conversion funnel in stores to understand the physical and mental availability of your brands and products. You can optimize secondary placement. You can optimize point of sales marketing placement, and you can optimize design and content of in-store marketing. A little bit more about Shopnosis. So as I said, we are Ghent University spin-off in the market since 2018, operating globally already. We are trusted by market leaders, so a lot of different brands and retailers use Shopnosis solutions so far. We solve a problem of lack of data of real shopper behavior. So now this data is accessible faster and more convenient way to you, and you can do a lot of useful things with it. And we have local partners in industry specialists and retailers on local markets. So I will end here also with you have here my data, and you can also follow us on LinkedIn. I will try now to quickly go to the live demo of our application. Just a second. I will need to switch to another screen. Just a moment. So here, this is let's say a live version of Shopnosis.AI app that you can use. As I said, you can upload your creative. It can be a render, it can be a picture of your creative. You can define like what is the marketing type. In this case, is display. What is the campaign goal? In this case, is branding campaign. Is there any seasonality? What is the brand? What is the category? And retailer. And this is all taken into account because we have over 2 million of observations of how shoppers interact with various types of in-store marketing. And we take all this into account to score your design and give it a predictive stopping power score and engagement power, which tells you how likely is that this design will stop shoppers along their shopper journey and create engagement. But then you can also get different details on a promotion, product exposure, call to action score, key visual text balance, visual simplicity, shopping experience, and the new one that is coming is branding, which will tell you how consistent this design is to your branding. If you go in another window, you have tracker in which you can see which inputs you take when you define when you launch your test. So as I said, we take into account what retailer format it is, what retailer it is, what category it is, what brand, marketing type, promotion goal or campaign goal, promotion type, and season. And it's like if you launch multiple of your designs, you can kind of quickly go through them and check which ones are working, which ones you need to still optimize, and so on. You can easily create your organization account, assign users within your organizations, check the retailer data, and so on and so forth. I hope that I didn't go over my let's say time, and that we can continue with the rest of the presentation. So back to DJ. Thank you all for attention, and you have my information in the presentation, so you can reach out to me, and let's make a demo for each one of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Vedran. That was quite fascinating. Given the practical shopper experience can be analyzed through this wonderful platform, and I see that you have used high-tech as classes as well. So thank you to all our presenters today, Ben, Christian, Bradley, and Vedran. That has been very, very informative session. Now it's time for questions and answers, and I'm sure our audience must have posted some questions in the box, and let me just go one by one. And there is one question from Anita Pollack. It looks like quite a general question. Perhaps anyone can jump on from all of you, or all can add. This is the question. So what is the role of the researcher? Given that AI is prevailing in most of the areas, and it is making us think like if everything can be done by AI, where is the just? I don't know if anyone would like to contribute and jump on that. I see from the timing that question posted when Ben was presenting, so maybe it was pointed towards him. So maybe you can start, Ben.
Yeah, sure, DJ. And I think it's a very interesting point. And the way, at least in my opinion, AI itself is not replacing any jobs anytime soon. However, it's replacing a lot of tasks, whether that's in our field of research or whether that's in creativity. And essentially, AI is actually going to make things, going to create more jobs in a certain way, right? Because there's going to be an exponential use cases that's going to develop from this. That's not being said, though. However, there will be jobs being lost with all tasks being automated. So it's really up to us as individuals in whatever career path you're taking to really get yourself up to speed and really apply to your own personal workflows to empower yourself.
Absolutely, absolutely. I do have one more question for you from my side, Ben. So given that there are so many solution providers coming up with biometrics and various, indicators, KPI, they're capturing. It's quite fascinating, isn't it? So how Synapbox is creating differentiation. Where you think that is different from others?
Yeah, so in two different ways. I think I touched upon this in my presentation. I think it's our approach towards emotions. They are not universal, heavily dictated by the person's culture, their backgrounds, Also, just emotions by themselves don't really make much sense. You have to really understand it and cross-reference it with the other biometric data points and rational feedback, as well as what they're actually looking at on the screen, and the ability to do this in a very automated way. There's a lot of great researchers out there, but time is limited, is one of the most valuable resources. And with the marketing cycles and quick attention spans and heavy media saturation, we need these insights quick, faster, right? So better, faster, cheaper is essentially what we're doing. So that's the first thing. Number two is really how we are integrating all these different capabilities, knowledge, AI expertise, domain expertise into one easy-to-use system, and then direct delivering it to the workflow, right? So essentially, researchers can get this information and insights and actually get to the fun part of research, right? To actually get to the decision-making, to really, how do we build upon this insights and research, and how do we ensure that we can access this information in a very reliable and consistent way? So essentially what I'm trying to say here is that another advantage that we have is how we actually build this directly into the workflows of our clients. So they don't basically have to sort of hack all this together themselves, because I'm sure that a lot of these technologies and methodologies everyone has probably seen in one form or the other. But really building it holistically and integrate it organically is essentially how we differentiate as well.
Sure. Thank you. And I can now read one more question from the chat box. I think it is for you. Facial expressions have been questioned as predictors of emotions from neuroscientists. What studies are you rooting your applications into to say that facial expressions correlate with emotions?
So this has been researched for many, many decades now, right? So we're not saying that we are the first people to really apply machine learning towards emotions. And that's important, right? It's not looking at emotions individually. It's really as a subset of a holistic data consumer behavior data set is where we have essentially really excelled in expertise. In terms of what we've written, we do have a white paper that is essentially using the latest neural network of ResNet-50 to identify these different emotions. A lot of this is based on Paul Ekman's old work around the universal emotions and essentially anchoring the different pieces of the face. And we're able to kind of do this at a more advanced level, just mainly due to the advancements of AI, right? Where the methodology itself is very similar, where we're basically tagging the different emotional pieces and literally seeing when their faces are moving, right? As they're watching a piece of content. And again, right, it's cutting it by different cultures, different segments, different filters, how someone in Japan is going to react very differently to someone in Australia, in Hong Kong, in India, in the US. And it's really these different layers is what's novel about our approach. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thank you, Ben. I will move to the next question. I think it is pointing towards Christine, but others, if you feel relevant, please jump on it. Culture shifts over time. How does your platform ensure that the customer is receiving the most up-to-date data feedback? So I don't know who wants to pick it. Is it for Deep Sites, Christian or Bradley?
No, I think this was also for Ben. Let's see. Matt has written Ben right in the beginning.
Yeah, maybe I don't know, Ben, you want to take that one too?
Apologies. Do you mind just summarizing that for quickly? I kind of cut out there for a second.
Yeah, I think for me it sounds like the platforms which are using a lot of data, data which has been collected over the period of time. The culture. So the question is basically towards Ben. I'm sorry, I didn't read. That's for you, Ben. Cultures shift over time. How does your platform ensure that the customer is receiving the most up-to-date data feedback?
Yeah, so by making the process very easy and quick, we can test more frequently and more consistently, because you're right. What's even as individuals, right? How we feel yesterday is going to be different to today, and it's going to be different to tomorrow. So it's really about, having testing always on, so you can have a pulse on what your consumer is thinking and feeling at all times. And this is very important because I think a lot of times when there's a lot of confusion around brand identity is usually because A, the data that they're using to determine the values of their brand and their audience is somewhat out of date. Number two, audiences change. Or number three, and the worst part of all, is that what you think you know can be very dangerous, right? If you assume certain things that might either be incorrect or they might be out of date, then essentially you're delivering a message in a sense that isn't really going to connect with that audience. And again, you have literally 5 seconds to grab their attention, right? And if you miss out on that, then boom. Like we saw the Pepsi ads and other ones in the past, hundreds of millions of dollars down the drain, and all the reputation that's the damage that's done to the brand as well. In some cases, kill companies, unfortunately, right? So that's why, research itself, and especially in this day and age, needs to be, faster, cheaper, better, in order to and fully integrated into marketing and brand strategies and, consumer research as a whole.
Thank you. Thank you, Ben. So I'll move to, I have a question for Christian, and DeepSight sounds like a quite fascinating platform. And when I was listening to you, it sounds like it's a great platform for desk research and other secondary research as well. Do you think that it has a primary research component as well? And how, if it is, how different than, again, this is from other AI providers?
Yes, of course. The main repository we offer is for primary research. So an average client of ours usually has anything between 50,000 and 500,000 reports as primary reports collected over years in the repository. It can be directly connected to any SharePoints or via APIs to other repositories that the company has already, so that they don't have to duplicate files. So there's syndicated searches possible as well. And in comparison to the public LLMs out there, of course, we use one or actually a couple of them as engine elements of our RAG. So there's a 3.5 turbo somewhere, there's GPT-4 somewhere, but the infrastructure that we have built and our training and how we deal with the data, is extremely insights focused. So in comparison to a Copilot would look into the document with a very generic point of view, so to say. DeepSight looks into it as it would be a market researcher, as it would be an insights manager, and understands terminology much better. It just does a much better job in retrieving truth under market insights perspective. And we have a totally different set of data policy workflows. So none will ever be used for training. Only statistical data is used for training, and so we are much more compliant on an enterprise level.
Thank you very much. I'm conscious of time as well, and I will quickly move to Bradley. I have a question for him. What metrics can your system be calibrated to work with? So do you want to take that one?
Yep,
Bradley?
Absolutely. Thank you for the question. Very good. So the Converseon system can look to predict and work with any longitudinal metric. So this could be your NPS score over time that you get from survey, or your brand equity. This could be your sales data or retail data from Nielsen or other providers who share the data. So we're able to tie back and understand the effect that in consumers' minds, what is happening with these different perspectives and attributes that people have about your brand. So if someone believes that it's a good brand, they believe certain attributes about your brand, how do each of these brands add to your NPS score or your brand equity or your top line sales? And so we can really link back any of those. As long as it's longitudinal data, sufficient frequency, we're able to do a good job of it. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. Again, we are on time, and I just quickly want to check with everyone. Any question for Judith as well, given we have AI 20 question? If not, then please, obviously you can reach out to us anytime. And I see a lot of questions coming in, so I'm sure, conscious of time as well, but we'll reach out to you and you have the materials available. So I would like to now hand it over to Christine. And apologies, my background light has not been great here. I'm sure by now you must have noticed it. It says blackout over here. So over to you, Christian.
Thank you, DJ. We want to thank our moderator, DJ, our speakers, Judith, Ben, Christian, Bradley, and Vedram for joining us. And of course, all of you for participating in this webinar today. We hope you have enjoyed your time with us. Our next AI Tools Demo Day will be on the 6th of June. And you can already sign up by clicking the link in the resources widget. We hope to see you there. Thank you very much.